Hey everyone, it's Rose. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my July favorites. I had so much fun doing this video for June, and so this is going to be a thing on my channel now. If you missed the last one, basically I just go through and talk about all of my favorite music, movies, or TV shows or books that I read within the month. Also, if you'd like to check out my June favorites video, then I'll have it linked in the description for you. If you hear a lot of background noise going on, I apologize. There's a lot going on in the house today, so I just realized that you're not where I want you. So first I'm going to talk about my favorite music from July, and there's surprisingly not a whole lot. Like, I'm constantly listening to music, so I expected there to be a lot more music. I think it's because I've been listening to like the same 10 songs that I've been listening to for like the past 4 months, so there's not a whole lot of like new music coming into my life right now. Anywho, the first song that I'm going to talk about is 21st Century Vampire by Lil Huddy. I guess you could say his style is kind of like alternative. He only has singles out. He's never released whole albums. 21st Century Vampire is my favorite because it sounds more like punk rock than his other songs do. Lil Huddy, also known as Chase Hudson, he's like friends with like Charli D'Amelio and all of those people from TikTok and stuff. I don't follow them or like their lives. My sister does, and that's how I know about him, because she has like a huge crush on him and like she just loves them and their friend group and stuff. So Chase is kind of known for setting the trend for like the e-boy style. At least that's what the internet says. They credit him for that. Also, he's done like a movie slash like music video type of collaboration with Machine Gun Kelly, which I watched it. It's available on YouTube if you want to watch it, but it was actually pretty good. But yeah, his song 21st Century Vampire, so like I like it for how it sounds and like the instruments more than like the lyrics. And there's also a guitar solo in there that I just really enjoy. One of his other songs, American Sweetheart, I think that one's pretty good as well. It's like more acoustic, and it's like more emotional song. So like my sister explained this to me. Him and Charli D'Amelio were like dating for a while, and they had like this huge like dramatic breakup, and everybody was kind of taking her side and pinning the blame on him, even though they didn't really like know the whole story. And so like some of the lyrics in this song is, "And here we are, I'm the bad guy and you're America's sweetheart," which I'm like, that's kind of heartbreaking. The next song that I'm going to talk about is actually part of the score for the movie Me Before You. The score was done by Craig Armstrong. He's done quite a few other movies, but none that I've seen. Me Before You is about this woman named Louisa who gets hired to take care of this man who has quadriplegia. I think that's what it's called. Basically, he's paralyzed from the neck down, so he can't use his arms or his legs. It's kind of like a enemies to lovers type of romance, but somewhere in the middle of the movie he like catches a chill, so he's like sick in bed for a little bit, and like when he wakes up and he's starting to feel better, they just start chatting, and he asks her to tell him something good. And so she's like telling this story of how like when she was a kid she like loved this thing so much, and he was like kind of teasing her about it. She says, "You can mock, like didn't you ever love anything so much?" And so like he thinks about it for a second, and he doesn't say it, but you know he's like thinking back to how his life used to be and how much he wishes he could just go back to that. So that scene is just precious by itself, but then the song that's playing in the background just makes it for me. The song is called Didn't You Love Anything. It's available on Spotify if you want to check it out. It's like 2 minutes long, and it's like my favorite thing in the world right now. Like, I listen to that song on repeat all day, every day. Like, at this point, it's probably my most played song. So that's it for the music portion. Now I'm going to move on to movies and TV shows. So I said in my last video that I don't really watch a whole lot of TV, and when I do, it's usually movies or shows that I've already seen. and I hardly watch anything new. I've rewatched the first season of American Horror Story. I've seen it like 6 times maybe, and I'm just like, I'm not really interested in watching the rest of the show because I love this season so much, and I just know like the other seasons aren't gonna give me like the same vibes as the first season. Yeah, but lately I've been thinking about going and watching the rest of the show because then they came out with like a spin-off show called American Horror Stories, but I was interested in watching that, but I feel like maybe I should watch the rest of the original show in case they were to reference it and like I wouldn't understand what was happening. So I might go and watch the rest, but yeah, the first season of American Horror Story is like my favorite thing right now. I'm obsessed. A movie that I watched in July, I actually watched like 3 times. It's one of my favorite romance movies. It's The Age of Adeline, and it stars Blake Lively, and I actually don't know his name. I think it's like Michael something, hard to pronounce. And it also has Harrison Ford, who is just... And then Kathy Baker, love her. She's from Edward Scissorhands. I mean, like, obviously she's done other stuff, but that's where I know her from. I'm just gonna read what Google says is the description for this movie because I just tried to explain it like 5 times and every single time I like slipped a spoiler in somehow, so I don't trust myself anymore. Anyways, Adeline Bowman, played by Blake Lively, has miraculously remained the youthful 29 years of age for nearly 8 decades, never allowing herself to get close to anyone lest they discover her secret. However, a chance encounter with a charismatic philanthropist named Ellis Jones reawakens Adeline's long-suppressed passion for life and romance. When a weekend at Ellis's parents' house threatens to expose the truth, Adeline makes a decision that changes her life forever. I'm pretty sure this movie came out like 6 years ago. Like, Adeline and Ellis together are just my favorite thing. Like, their banter is like super cheesy and corny, like on purpose, and like what the heck. And actually, while I was reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, it made me think of this movie just because it kind of has like similar vibes, I guess. Like, Addie LaRue stops aging and she like lives for however many years, and then same thing with Adeline, like she's been living for a long time, never getting close to anybody. Same type of vibes. So maybe if you read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and you liked it, maybe watch The Age of Adeline. Like, they're not like extremely similar, just like those 2 things that I said. Now I'm going to talk about my favorite books that I read in July. I actually read a decent amount of books in July. There are 3 books that I read this month that I loved. I'll start with the Corpse Bride illustrated story. It's literally the movie in this tiny little book. Corpse Bride is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I got this book from like a hole-in-the-wall bookstore. It's just scenes from the movie, and then also they provide like sketches of scenes like before they started doing the stop motion animation. This isn't even 100 pages, so they did have to like leave some major plot points, I think, out of this, and like I didn't really appreciate that, but like I've already seen the movie, so like it doesn't matter. But yes, like if somebody were reading this without having seen the movie, I feel like they might be lost. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Daylight Chasers by Ruth Sparks. I read this a couple weeks ago, and like, you ever just have like those things in your life that happen to you like at exactly the right moment, but you don't know it until like it actually happens? Like, that's what happened to me when I read this book. I read this book at like the exact right time. Like, at the end of this, there were just like passages that were like speaking to my soul, and like I needed to hear it, and like hearing it right now was like the best thing that could happen to me. So like, I've been having like personal struggles all year, and I think that if I wasn't having personal struggles, this book wouldn't have meant as much to me as it does. Rue actually redesigned the cover for this one, and I really like it, so I'm trying to get a copy of one of those. Also, they just came out with another book last month, a collection of short stories, which I have in my possession, and I can't wait to read it. And then the last book that I absolutely loved this month is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This one follows Stella, who has high-functioning autism, previously known as Asperger's syndrome, which I actually know a lot about. Somebody in my life that I know personally has Asperger's syndrome, so like I know like kind of how it works, I guess. So just like reading about how she likes things to be and like how her opinion towards certain things and just like the way she thinks was just very familiar for me. But anyways, she is not exactly an expert in relationships, so she hires this guy named Michael to teach her how to be in a relationship with somebody, along with other things, and then they kind of start to fall for each other and whatever. And this book was just really good. There was like a lot of like sexy time in here, which I was not expecting. But yes, I just really love this one. It's one of my new favorite romances, and I can't. That is all I have for today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Just a reminder that all of my socials are in the description. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.